Love and abuse are not opposites. They often feel identical in the body because the same chemistry fuels both. That's why people stay in toxic relationships. That's why leaving can feel like withdrawal. To understand this, we need to break down how the brain responds to love, how it responds to pain, and how abusers exploit the overlap. The dopamine trap. Dopamine is the reward chemical. It fires when we anticipate something good, like attention, affection, intimacy. In a healthy relationship, dopamine flows steadily. A good morning text, a shared joke, a hug at the end of the day. Small signals of love keep the system balanced. In abuse, dopamine is unpredictable. Cruelty one day, tenderness the next. The victim never knows what's coming. Ironically, that unpredictability makes the dopamine hit stronger. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, the same principle casinos use. Slot machines don't pay every time. They pay occasionally, unpredictably. That's why people keep pulling the lever. The same wiring keeps people pulling the lever in toxic love. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is often called the trust hormone. It's released during affection, sex, or even simple touch. It bonds parent to child, partner to partner. In healthy love, it creates safety. In abuse, oxytocin is weaponized. After an outburst, the abuser hugs, apologizes, or initiates intimacy. The same hormone that should build trust now fuses comfort and pain together. The victim's body says, "This is the person who makes me feel safe," even though they're also the person who just caused harm. That's the trap. Love and abuse start to feel inseparable. Cortisol and the stress cycle. Cortisol is the stress hormone. In healthy love, cortisol drops so your body calms down. Your partner is your refuge. In abuse, cortisol stays elevated. Arguments, threats, silent treatments, these keep the body in a constant state of stress. When the abuser finally offers comfort, cortisol falls sharply. That crash feels like relief. The victim interprets it as reconciliation, as love returning, but it's just chemistry rewarding survival. Trauma bonding. When you combine dopamine spikes, oxytocin bonding, and cortisol crashes, you get trauma bonding. It's a psychological addiction. The victim becomes hooked on the cycle of pain and relief. The brain wires suffering and intimacy together. That's why people say things like, "The when it's good, it's so good." They're not lying. The good moments feel euphoric. But those highs only exist because of the lows. Without the abuse, the lover wouldn't feel nearly as intense. Real-world patterns. Think of the honeymoon phase at the start of an abusive relationship. Love bombing. Overwhelming affection. Constant texts, grand gestures, promises of forever. It feels intoxicating. But soon, the criticism starts. The control. The jealousy dressed up as concern. The victim holds onto the memory of the love bombing, convinced it will come back. Then comes the cycle. Abuse, apology, affection. Tension, explosion, reconciliation. Over and over. Each reconciliation cements the trauma bond deeper. The brain mistakes the cycle for passion, for depth, for proof of love. Why it feels impossible to leave. Breaking free isn't just an emotional decision. It's biochemical withdrawal. The body has become addicted to the cycle. Without the abuser, dopamine drops. Oxytocin drops. Cortisol spikes. it feels physically painful. Victims often return not because they don't understand the abuse, but because their nervous system is screaming for relief. This is why telling someone, "just leave," misses the point. They're not choosing abuse. They're locked in an addictive loop. The evolutionary angle. Our brains evolved to prioritize attachment for survival. Staying close to the group, even a dangerous one, was safer than isolation. Abuse hijacks that ancient wiring. The body says, "stay near the one who sometimes provides safety, even when that same person causes harm." The cultural confusion. Culture doesn't help. Movies romanticize jealousy as passion. Songs glorify suffering as proof of love. Families sometimes normalize control as care. He's just protective. These messages blur the line further, making abuse harder to recognize. The truth about love versus abuse. So here's the reality. Love feels stable. Abuse feels chaotic. Love calms the nervous system. Abuse agitates it. Love builds freedom. Abuse enforces control. Yet in the body, both can release the same chemicals. Both can feel intense. And that's why so many people confuse the two. Love and abuse share the same chemical language, but love speaks it steadily, like a clear signal. Abuse scrambles it into static. The victim's body can't tell the difference. That's the tragedy. Abuse masquerades as passion, as devotion, when in truth, it's addiction to a cycle. Real love doesn't require suffering. Real love doesn't leave you guessing. The brain may get confused, but once you see the cycle for what it is, the difference between love and abuse becomes undeniable. Manipulation hides in plain sight. Sometimes it comes dressed as concern, sometimes as guilt, sometimes as flattery, but the effect is always the same: control. The moment you recognize the tactic, you take back the power. That's why awareness is your strongest defense. Here at Human Psychology Lens, we break down the patterns that shape behavior and expose the tactics people use to influence and control. If you found this breakdown useful, subscribe and join us. We upload 3 to 5 new videos every week, each one peeling back another layer of how the mind really works. Don't just watch the game being played, learn how it's played and how to win.